Let's spend a couple minutes talking about shapes and importance of using them inside of a web layout. I'm going to single click on File, I'm going to click on New, and I'm going to use the preset that I made in the previous video of 955 by 600. I'm going to click on OK. Once I have that set, I'm going to expand the Layers panel, and from here I'll create a solid color fill layer. Having that set, I'm not going to worry so much about the color here, but I am going to worry about organization. Double clicking on this and calling it Web Background. Now that that's set, I'm going to hold on the Shift key and single click on this folder icon to be able to create a group. And I'm going to name this group Background Elements. This is where I'm going to place all of the stuff that pertains to the background of a page. Now, from here I can go ahead and start using shapes. And shapes are pretty straightforward. If you single click on the shape, you have either shape layer option, or you have path option, or you can fill the pixels. I'm just going to use the shape layer option, and I'll use a specific color. But take a look. I'm just going to click, drag, draw all the way across, and now I have a shape here. If I double click on this, I can go ahead and change the color of the shape as I need it. I love using shape layers over anything else because it offers the opportunity to be able to change stuff on the fly. So that's a good thing. Let's just say that I wanted to create a super dark website. I can just go ahead and make my navigation right here and then try to decide whatever color I want. Obviously, I could also go with something like cooler to be able to do this. Now I'll click OK, and it looks like it's outlined, but it's not. It's just that the path is selected here. So if you switch to a different layer, that's actually what it looks like. So I could add a stroke to it by just double clicking on this and add a stroke. I can go ahead and select the stroke color and select the stroke size and the opacity for the stroke itself. And now in just a couple of spots, now I've made a little bit of a navigation. And that's not bad. Now, for light colors, let's just say that I have a lighter website. Something like, I don't know, something like that. And let's say that I use a different color over here. Let's say that I used something like this. Now, I'm not using web colors just for illustrative purposes. But let's say that I had something like this. If I really wanted this to pop onto the page, what I would probably do is add yet a drop shadow or some type of glow to be able to give it a little bit of texture. In this case, a drop shadow probably works. I would go ahead and grab this and maybe work a little bit with the spread to be able to give this a little bit of dimension on the page. I could even add a little bit of a bevel and get rid of that stroke, and then just play with the depth of the bevel and the size of the bevel to give me a little bit of dimension there. So what I also can do from here is I can use more than just a rectangle shape to be able to create a bar. I can use it to make the main container of a site. For example, here I have this bar, right? I can go and just transform this, and holding down the Alt key, just bring this in a little bit here, and let's just say that I drag this up and bring this up from top to bottom and hit the Enter key. Now I've set up the main container of a website, and these drop shadows and bevel don't necessarily work for me here. Get rid of the drop shadow, get rid of the bevel and the stroke, and now all I have is just an open shape. So this could serve as the background if I wanted to be able to see what a smaller container would look like on a background file. Let's switch this yet again, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this a really dark with a darker layout. And if I wanted to do this, what I can do from here is then stroke this shape with a lighter color, and maybe to add some interest, I can go ahead and add an outer glow and kind of bring the size of that outer glow out. Let's say we'll really spread it, and then we'll decrease the size, and maybe we'll play with the opacity a little bit. Now we kind of have something that glows in the background. So that's another thing we can do with those styles. Now, I'm going to hide this and show you a couple other things, because it's not just about rectangles. I mean, you can use shapes here as well, and shapes help. Take a look. I'm going to go to the U key, and I'm going to select the shape. Now, the shape that I have selected is this kind of ornate. Well, let's see if I can find it here. It's this guy. All right, let's drag him out and find him. we have this guy selected right here. So if I zoom in, I'll show you just an ornament. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop this back, and I'll drag out an ornament. So there it is. Now I'm just going to command click the background just to move outside of it so that it doesn't have it selected. And then doing this, I can just go ahead and change the color of this. Let's just say that I give it a color like that. Right. Why would you use that on a web page? Well, you wouldn't, but you could transform it, rotate it, and move it just off the web page. Do something like this. And make that a decorative element. Grab that, take the opacity, bring the opacity down a little bit. Just about there. Maybe then I can just hold on the Alt key, drag out another one, bring another one over here. Maybe even bring another one somewhere around here. What I'll do is I'll transform it so that I can use the bottom portion of it. Right? Sky's the limit, really, with these shapes. Now, this last one, I want to be very, very careful that it doesn't kind of go off the 600 edge here. So maybe what I would do here is just add a mask, and with a gradient from white to black, draw out so that it kind of fades out towards the end. That way, if I'm doing something and I wind up scrolling down the page, I'm not going to necessarily have a big chop that goes off the end. So now there's my center layout. I'm going to grab that center box and bring it all the way up, and maybe I can transform this down a little bit so that we can see the background graphics to that. Now, command clicking on the background shows me what the overall layout looks like. These are a couple of things that you can do when working with shapes in Photoshop to be able to simulate something interesting from a background layout. Now in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to start working on an actual comp, taking that from conception inside of Photoshop into Dreamweaver.